everybody, welcome back to American Truck Simulator. Today we're going to be hopping here completing our run to Denver, Colorado. We have about 308 miles to go, so let's go ahead and hit the road. I noticed we're getting pretty close to fuel, so we are at a truck stop, so we'll go ahead and grab fuel while we're at it here, just so we don't have to stop again here. So we're not going to hit that RV beside us, we should be good. Go wide here. So we don't hit the side of the fuel pumps or anything like that, because that would not be good. And shut the engine off here. Alrighty, we now have fuel. We are good to go to hit the road. I started to begin my car and then watched that trailer back there, like, nah, they go a little bit wider than that. I do apologize if you guys hear me hitting my mic or something like that. It just unfortunately is something that's going to happen. It's just sort of something that's kind of like in the way and stuff like that. There's just nothing you can do. What in the world is it doing? I don't even know. We gotta take a look at this real quickly, because I don't want it to be taking us something that okay, so yeah, I am doing this right. Okay. It just has not fit itself yet. Thought that looked a little weird. There it goes, now it fixed itself. I know for some of you guys that see those like gates on the side of the interstate, especially if we're not in states like this, like Colorado and stuff like that, that may not make a whole lot of sense to you guys. But for what my understanding and my experience, I've never really ran into that problem, because most of the time I can, you know, wow, that was a really big frame rate, so I don't know what that was about, but anyways, so when certain situations arise when I was on the road in real life, and that does exist in real life, by the way, as well, those gates, most of the time for any of this stuff, I'm already shut down before any of this stuff decides to happen. Or, you know, I double check my weights and stuff like that, make sure I'm good to go. One of the big occurrences that can happen with those gates being shut and they're sitting on the highway is high winds. Weather can get crazy in Colorado. It, you know, can just be really, really windy. It could just, it's kind of cool, if you ask me, the weather patterns up there. It can just get absolutely crazy up there, you know. And so, when there's high winds like that, of course, this is a, you know, very tall vehicle, so it's very easy to, you know, end up in a ditch flipping on your side in high wind situations for a commercial vehicle. And this could probably be more than commercial vehicles, I don't know what that was about. This is weird. I've never had this in American Truck Simulator before. That was very weird. But anyways, so we're just gonna have to work with it for now. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to alt-tab out that may be the issue that I'm having. Maybe American Truck Simulator just doesn't like that. I don't know. But definitely is very weird. But anyways, so yeah, what I was saying there is high winds can definitely be an issue for more than commercial vehicles, If any of you guys ever paid attention to the driver's ban or for just regular driver's license, there is in there that I've at least have seen where, and a lot of people forget about this too, is it puts in a warning for SUVs and stuff like that for high wind areas because they can flip over just as easy as we can. It just got to be really, really careful. You fucking asshole, you. Jesus Christ, I hate stupid people like that. Trying to get over and you just can't. I broke down the road, almost about to catch on fire. You have idiots like this. This happens in real life too sometimes. It just drives you nuts. But anyways, so it's just one of the dangers that you have to keep an eye out for. Now, I was talking about, checking weights and stuff like that. If you are heavy, I would say, probably above 50,000 pounds, you can make it just fine on, relatively high winds. As long as it's not too high, you'll probably be alright. Some states, maybe even more specific than that. They may not want any, vehicles that have a high risk of, tipping or something like that due to high winds. It really depends on the state, really. But if you're relatively heavy, you can make it. You'll be just fine. This lane's ending already. So not even worried about that. But anyways, so this also would probably lead into a story on, my experience with dealing with all that. So I believe I was going through Wyoming, and Wyoming has interesting weather as well. It can be really, really windy up there sometimes. And so when I think this might have been 70 maybe. I don't remember what it was. It was such a long time ago, but we're exiting here. I believe we're about to get on 25 here. But anyways, so moving on with the story here. So I was going through Wyoming, and I was pretty decently heavy. I think I was close to around 60,000, somewhere around there. So I could make it just fine through the high wind and stuff like that. So I did, Mind you, it's not the most pleasant drive. You're still all over the road, but you don't really have to worry about, really flipping on your side or something like that. It just, a little bit of a push here and there, but I at least saw a dozen drivers that did not listen to the signs and stuff like that and just ignore them and probably were empty or making bad decisions. And I saw at least a dozen trucks, cars just on the side of the road because people weren't listening. And I think during this time I even stopped because it's better to be safe than sorry. You know, if you feel that, the roads aren't safe, get off the road. I don't care what your dispatcher says. I don't care what, the company says at all. It's your life, you know, it's your career on the line. Just, yeah, and unfortunately this does happen. You'll have your companies that, try to push you to do things that are dangerous or unsafe. Just don't do it. It's your life and others' lives on the road. It's not worth it. No company and nobody is worth, putting safety on the line. It just doesn't make sense to me. I've heard things have happened like that. I've not had that experience. All the companies that I've worked for, CRC and USA Truck, they both were, safety advocates, more CRC side of things really, which is surprising, but CRC would actually shut drivers down. They would put a warning on to the Qualcomm that we had, and they would shut drivers down or you would get in big, big trouble. So it's all about safety out here. And you just have to make the right call. Even if it may not be the best call or, you just, maybe it's minor, you thought was major, just stop anyways. It doesn't matter. Just you gotta do your best to be safe. That's all it really is. At the end of the day, you want to go home to your family and your loved ones, kids, possibly wife, that's, what's important. And not going home in a body bag or a coffin, I don't know, you just hear a lot of things that happen and it just doesn't make any sense to me. I would be a rookie driver and I even know to, just be safe. Always try to make, the call to stop. And don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about the load, don't worry about the company or opinions. They don't matter. But, we were talking about the gates, so when there is high winds or they need to shut down the road for other reasons, say there's like an accident or something like that, they will shut those gates and they will close the highway that way. Most states don't have this, but those are there for, so they can close down the highway if they need to do that stuff. And it is more common than you think. Like, for example, I think I was on a Greyhound bus one time. I don't remember what this was. I may have been possibly heading home. I think I was heading home. I think this was possibly during the time of, I think it was like COVID and the DMV was shutting everything down and whatnot, and so you sort of had to, well, we only had a couple days before things started to get shut down, And we need to be on this side. This is weird. But anyways, we are talking about the Greyhound trip here. So, I was on my way home, and, like I said, they were shutting everything down. We only had a couple of days to get everything, and I had a damaged birth certificate that I personally could not do anything about. My family did the best that they could to try to get me a copy, but it just did not happen. But anyways, so when I went down there to Kingsburg, Colorado, which is pretty relatively close to Denver, possibly like maybe 100 miles away. Fortunately, it's not, modeled in regular truck simulator. It is a pretty small town, but it just, as I said, they were closing everything down. As I said, I had a bad birth certificate, so, everything was closed down before I was able to get anything, so I had to go back home, which really, really sucked. And so, as I'm going home, there is a wind warning. And of course, we're on a bus, so same, problems that we may have, and they were trying to, they were starting to shut the gates because, it was starting to get a little bit dangerous. But our bus driver was fortunate enough, an experienced guy. I believe he was has been driving for at least, I think he said he was like 20 years or something like that. So he was a veteran in the, driving industry and stuff like that. I believe a little bit of detail. I think he was driving like trucks and buses and stuff like that. And so he was able to get us through pretty well, which, my hats off to him. It was amazing. Like, this is an airport. This may be Denver Airport. Yes, it is. Strangely enough, I think I was in this area. I dropped off a rental car here. Probably towards that way. Yeah, looks like it. But, man, I was so sick. It was out of hurts. And if you guys don't know, I cannot stand the cleaning that, stuff that Hertz uses. It makes me sick every single time I get in a Hertz rental car. So, I was so freaking sick by the time I got to there, and I drove 15 hours to get to Colorado here, and man, I was just throwing my guts up, and it was horrible. So this is all kind of blur right now, so, but it definitely does look familiar. Not where we need to be. I guess hit here. Look at this. Freaking airplane over here. Thank you. Most of the time, you're gonna have to submit the paperwork to that guy over here, and then he'll kind of tell where to go. But this is like a legit warehouse. I am very impressed with this. Oh, this is not legit though. I don't think this is. Where is the friggin'? Alright, pass it, that's why. They do where they want it here. You want it there? Where's my reverse? It's not going in drive for some reason. What the hell? There it goes. I don't know what was going on with that. I'm just gonna flip it around over here. No hazards here. Nice and easy here. What am I doing? This is difficult doing this view, but you can't see in the mirror, so. So sorry here. Here we go. Turn off the engine and unload our truck here. I totally pretty decent. Alrighty guys, so I know this was kind of a little bit of a short episode here, but our job wasn't all that long here. I do apologize about the performance. I don't know what's going on with that. I may just need to restart the game. I don't know, but I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up here, and I will see you guys next time. Boy.